Welcome in the tunnel, sports fans. Welcome to the podcast. We had technical difficulties earlier. Anyway, so I am your host, Nicole, with the K and the Y, and I am here with my wonderful co-host, Patrick the Truth Tuesday.
What's happening, H-Town? What a show. What a show you're going to have.
Wednesday. And I am here with my new friend, and he's automatically a friend because he's from Hiram Clark,
right.
Cambridge Village, okay?
My hero.
Mr. Tony Thompson, former Green Bay Packer, Texas A&M wide receiver, and graduate of Lamar High School. The Cardinals, right?
No, the Redskins.
It was the Redskins.
It was the Cardinals. Oh, that was Bel Air. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Either way, it wasn't Madison.
That's kind of fighting, bro. Oh, man. That's
Here we go. Somehow I knew that was going to come up.
Boy, that's cool.
My apologies.
That's all right.
Okay, but welcome to the show.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in the tunnel, sports fans, this is going to be a wild show today. I can already tell. So, I need you to like, share, subscribe, comment on all our social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Right?
Right.
All right, guys. So, even though we're going to have a good time, there is a moment that we do need to share because this episode, you know, we're dedicating to a great young man. And as you know, sometimes we start with our on the horizon, you know, and these are people who have transitioned on, you know, to a better place. And so this episode is dedicated to the young man, Mr. Terrence Howard, who died on July 30th from a car accident. And Truesdale, he was one of your kids and stuff like that, and so it's still new, it's still fresh. You know, let's kind of talk about it a little bit, and then we'll kind of move from there.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it's a tough situation. You know, the kid is like the kid had an awesome smile. I mean, he had a smile like Cam Newton, Magic Johnson smile. Always smiling, always happy, always energized. Came in high school like at 5'5", then he shot up to like 5'9", 5'8", 5'7". Then he shot up to like 5'10", and finally, you know, he went to prep school after Ridge Point High School. Then he went to Alabama, walked on there. Then he transferred and found a new home, and it was going to work out for him. I know Coach Clay, Coach Oliver, all of them at North Carolina Central was excited, talking about he's going to be really a big help. And for this tragedy to happen, man, I'm like, man, this can't happen to no better kid than him, you know. And Tony worked him out a lot and had a great relationship with him, and it's still devastating. It's still hard to believe, you know, and what he's going through, what the family going through, you know. We'll miss the kid, and he's gonna be a kid, ain't gonna never be forgotten. That smile ain't gonna never be forgotten, you know. And damn, it's tough. It's tough.
All right, my condolences go out to the family as well as you and Mr. Tony. Would you like to say some words?
Sure, absolutely. I got to say that I was very, very hurt, shaken by the news, and was prayerful every day that his health would get better. Unfortunately, it did not, and I would be remiss if I didn't wish his family, all the best. Let them know that prayers have been sent up and will be continuously sent up for them. Coach Allen was a great guy, worked with my kids too. Met Terrence when we were running summer camps over at Rodeo Palms. We had a lot of kids, a lot of competition over there. And even in high school, when he was at Ridge Point, my boys went to Elkins. When I would be on the sidelines at the games, during the game, he and I would be conversating in between plays, just laughing and joking. And Pat's telling the truth. This kid had an electric smile. Yes. His spirit is, still beautiful to this day. And I just want to wish my condolences to the family.
Okay. All right. I didn't know the young man, but just from hearing from Truesdale and from you, and then just social media and stuff like that, he definitely was a light. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's important in life for us all to be, a light and shine, because we all have a dash. and we don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that a little bit, a little bit later on.
Sure.
But for now, Mr. Tony, one thing we like to do is be responsible, and we like to pay our bills. So this episode is brought to you by the Overstreet Law Firm. Facing a legal storm, unsure where to turn? When you want your criminal case dismissed, there's only one name to remember: Brian E. Overstreet, the bow tie lawyer. From minor charges to serious allegations, Brian Overstreet is the answer when the odds seem stacked against you. With 25 years of experience and a track record of success, Brian is the defender you need in your corner. Remember, when you're in legal trouble, don't stress. Just call the bow tie lawyer at 281-820-4LAW and let the Overstreet Law Firm fiercely defend your rights.
Out of Cambridge Village.
Okay, all right. And
Dear friend of mine.
as we said, we hope we never have to call the number, but if we do, we know we signed it. We good.
Yeah, we
you
good.
Know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Be
that's
on,
the point.
yeah.
All right. So we're gonna get into sports talk, but before we get into sports talk, I want to talk about and give a shout out to my friend and comedian Kenise, because it's a big thing in the comedy world to make it into, Sports Illustrated.
Right.
Maybe on TikTok and all these other things comedians do.
But that's the Bible of
But-
sports. Sports Illustrated.
Uh-huh.
Sports Illustrated is the Bible of sports.
Right. So
Yeah.
for a comedian to make it on, and so what he did, he just made a quick. I mean, it was a very quick, skit on Bronny James and stuff like that, and it just went viral. And then from there, it ended up being on Sports Illustrated. So in the comedy world, and all my comedy friends and Kenise, we like, hey, because how often does comedy and sports, go together? So
Yeah.
anyway, I want to give that shout out. So Truesdale. I want to now move on and talk about Simone Biles. We talked about her last time, and how she won, she has the most medals,
Yes.
as a gymnast. And then there was a young lady, Michaela Skinner, who before they, started winning and stuff, she made a comment on Instagram, and I think the comment was, I feel, let's see, what was it? That she feels like that they're not talented and that they're lazy. And so when they won, then Simone tweeted, she was like, look at us, us lazy, non-talented people, gold medalists. And she only won Michaela only won a silver medal because she substituted for Simone in the 2010 Olympics in Tokyo, because Simone needed to take time off for her mental health.
She did.
Okay. And then we all, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care what you do, where you work. It's nothing wrong with that. And we know that it worked because she came back. I don't even know what's the word after a champion. Right. And now she holds 11 Olympic medals. So taking time to yourself to get it together is nothing wrong with that at all. However, people are still giving her flack. And that's one of the reasons why she took time off, because of the negative comments and stuff like that. And they now giving her flack because there was a picture taken with her and her husband, and her husband had her gold medal on. And so some people, not all, but I'm going to just say for myself, mutual people, were like, why is he wearing her gold medal? That's not right. That's not his. That's hers. And I'm thinking, and maybe because I've been married before, is that's her husband. He's there with her. How much more support can you give? You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of thought about, what if it was the reverse? I remember back in high school and stuff, if you had a boyfriend or something, you wear his jacket or his gold chain or something. Nobody said anything.
Yeah.
So what if it was changed? What if he was an athlete, gymnast, whatever, and she wore his gold medal? Would that change the whole story?
No.
I'm confused.
I'll tell you what, let me add something to this real quick. Her husband was given special permission to be there to support her. He's supposed to be in training camp right now.
Okay, see, I didn't even know that.
He could possibly be cut from his team because he didn't get reps in training camp. He's over there supporting his wife. Now, they gave him permission to be there. But I would think that with the support he lended by being there and really sacrificing his job, him wearing that gold medal, I'm pretty sure was a thank you gesture from his wife. So anyone who, sees negativity in that, I feel like they just had to say something, because it makes no sense for a thriving young couple like that to be, experiencing such the amount of success that they're experiencing.
Beautiful young black couple.
And somewhere, somehow, we find a piece of negativity in that. And it's just, there's no place for that.
I agree. Because they won. They won together.
They did it as a team.
Yeah.
Team Biles won.
I agree. What
Well,
you
yeah,
think?
I think a lot of it too come from, and I'm not trying to make it a black and white thing, but when it's a white sport and somebody black do a white sport and dominate, it's all kind of problems. Because you look at the other girl, Dominique,
Mhm.
that won the gold medal gymnastics back in what was that, 18, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
And they was talking about the girl hair and everything and
Yeah,
all that.
I
So
remember that.
yeah, so it's just a lot of that heat is coming from that. And I mean, but the girl just a straight goat.
I
mean,
agree.
She is
I
the
say,
GOAT.
yeah, she's
I
just the
agree.
goat.
She's the GOAT.
Biles is the GOAT. I mean, I seen her change in the press conference, and I said she got the right thing on. She had a little rope chain with a goat on it. She's a GOAT. This girl been through a lot
Yes.
in
I
life.
agree.
You know, for her grandparents to do what they had to do to her to save her life and get her and her brothers and all that. I mean, this girl went through a lot, and mental health is serious. And I think that was the best thing she did. Took a break, and she came out like a soldier. She's a survivor. You know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of her. And really, I hate to say this, I could be wrong, Nicole and Tony. She really old compared to Janessa 29 years old and still
she is.
doing it.
She's 27 years
And my thing is, it's good to go out like a goat. I want to see her do it again. She don't have to prove anything. I just want to see her do it again. I think she can do it in 4 more years.
I think so. I definitely think so.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
And
sure
yeah.
that's going to be a consideration. I tell you one thing that you want to think about too, though. 2 quick points. One, she's at the age now. She's at 27. She's 27
Right.
years of age. She's married. At this point in time, she and her husband could be thinking about
Yeah,
having
but yeah.
children.
I thought
Yeah,
about that
that's
too.
true, too.
I thought about that
So,
too. Take a
so
break.
maybe we see it, maybe we don't.
Right.
The other thing is that your point about mental health as a medical professional,
That's right.
mental health in the Black community
Mm.
is still somewhat frowned upon. Getting help
Mhm.
Yes.
is the ideal thing to do. There is nothing wrong with speaking up, saying, you know what, I just don't feel well. I'm not myself. I need help. I would like to talk to someone. Because what that does is that gives you more self-awareness. It allows medical professionals to help you, whereas before on your own, you probably can't fix some of those problems. And it is quite all right to say, I need to take care of me.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
agree, and I think the big thing with that is from family that I've known needed, mental health and stuff. And it doesn't mean you crazy. It just
No.
like
Nah,
you
it
got
doesn't,
things
no,
you need
no.
to deal with.
Right.
And the number one thing, I don't want the people in my business. And it's not about people. It's like whatever your story is, I guarantee you, they got 50 other stories that are this high worse than
Oh,
what you
they
know what
do.
I'm saying.
They
But
do.
it is about self-care and self-help. And I'm gonna be honest and say this, that it's nothing wrong with prayer. But you
Oh.
got to have some other tools than just prayer, because if you're praying and say, whatever your entity is, I need help, that is part of the help, of seeing someone that's a professional.
True. One of the things that, when that comes up is, we just need to pray about it. Well, prayer is wonderful. Prayer is a lead. But guess what? God made the medicine too.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
People tend to forget that.
Yes.
Yeah. Man does a lot, but it's only because we've been enabled by our maker. So get your mental help. Go see your medical provider. If you need medication, so be it. Take your medicine and be proud about it.
Say, take your medicine.
Yeah.
Take your
yeah,
meds,
yeah.
be proud about it. You don't have to broadcast it to everybody. That's totally up to you.
Nah.
But you need to take care of yourself.
I agree. And so speaking of mental health, I want to go back and talk about Michaela Skinner, the young lady who, had some negative comments about the team, with Simone and them. And so now she's making a plea to Simone because she's getting death threats. And so she made a video. She's saying, to Simone, I'm asking you directly and publicly to please put a stop to this. Please ask your followers to stop. And I'm one of them kind of people, I'm from Highland, Florida. So, I'm kind of one of them people. You can't call them goons off. Once you go there, they there.
Yeah.
Simone can sit there, y'all. It's all good.
They not going. They still gonna have to
You
what they
said
say.
it,
So.
ma'am.
Yeah, that's what happens. You do this, and then when you make yourself look like a fool,
Yeah.
then you're fooling with the wrong people. It's gonna happen. Like I said, when you're a goat, you got to be careful when you talk about a goat.
Yeah, because my thing is,
True.
where
As
is
simple
she
as that,
going?
yeah.
Where is Michaela now going? Now you done talked about the U.S. team. Okay, you got a silver medal, in gymnastics. I don't have a medal. I can't even, do a cartwheel. However, where you know what I'm saying? Watching your mouth, like you said, can ruin your career.
Sure.
So is she really pleading because she's getting all these death threats, or she pleading because now it's like she kind of stuck?
Oh no, I mean she gonna go out as a buster. She's gonna go out as nobody gonna respect her.
Yeah.
And she caused this problem, so she gonna have to deal with it. So she got to go get some help. She about to have. She already got
that's what
problems.
I'm saying. Mental health.
Yeah, yeah.
She got a 10-month-old, and now now it's getting real
and
for
now,
her.
And now what's gonna happen is with technology today. That's why I tell people about these reality shows. You on these reality shows, when your kids gonna have to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull up anything nowadays.
Yep.
And they can see that. Just like the girl was on Love and Hip Hop, and her and that dude did a flick together.
Oh yeah.
Atlanta Love and Hip Hop, and now her daughter, y'all go, oh man, your mama, they got a flick, and they can pull it up.
That happened to Kim Kardashian.
Yes,
too.
I'm saying
Yeah.
it can blackbite, it can hurt you, and they don't think about that because the problem with people they worry about the dollar, but every dollar ain't good, and some things you got to do be careful because it can affect you down the road, individual, and it can affect your kids. You don't want nothing to affect your kids, and so like that little girl gonna probably have to deal with some things.
And you know what my saying is? Sometimes the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, right there.
All right.
Enough said.
So now I would like to move and talk about somebody who is very inspirational to me, as a filmmaker, and BYRON Allen.
Sure.
Yes.
He works in the film industry, and a lot of people don't know, that he also owns the Weather Channel.
Yes.
And some other entities under the Allen Media Group.
Yes.
And I'm excited now, and I think both you all will be as well, that he is finalizing an agreement with Fox-owned stations in Los Angeles and in Chicago to broadcast his 2024 college football package under the HBCU banner. So now we're talking about HBCUs on Fox, right? Getting the exposure that they need, And Tony, I want to ask you, what do you think this does for HBCUs on the athletic as well as academic level?
Well, I think it brings much needed attention back to HBCUs because I think with Coach Prime's departure from HBCUs, I think the noise level kind of decreased when Coach Prime left Jackson State and went to Colorado. So now that we'll have the ability to view these games in different markets, one, it's going to bring attention back to HBCU football, which I think is key. It's going to be very, very important moving forward. You're going to have more players from different cities, different states being able to watch games, being able to view these games. So, there may be more options for these kids out there now. There may be more dollars for these HBCUs now because as the numbers grow with these games on, then that's going to attract more attention of the media.
Right.
The second part of that is this. This is a move, obviously, about HBCUs, but it's more a move about diversity and inclusion.
Come on.
Yeah. So the media, as you well know, dominates this country. A lot of people rely on the media for everything they know. Diversity and inclusion in the media is kind of unheard of. That's not nearly enough of us in positions of influence in the media. So I think with BYRON Allen's background, his longevity, I remember BYRON Allen when I was much younger.
On Real People.
Yeah,
he's been around a long time.
Yeah.
So I think what it's going to do is kind of wake up the status quo. And again, this country, it may not be run by a whole lot of us, but we make it go.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, Patrick, I want to ask you the same thing. What does this do for HBCUs on the athletic and academic scholarship? But I also want to ask you, I think like one of our first and second episodes, we had talked about HBCUs, as far as funding and how's the money going and stuff, as well as a lot of athletes who play football in HBCUs or sports period. They don't end up going to the draft. They're not drafted or looked at. So do you think that by having, the games on, Fox and everything will bring more awareness, bring more, more light.
It'll help, but that Porter is killing the HBCUs too, though. Yeah. So it just depends. You got a kid at South Carolina State, the Aaron kid. He's probably the top prospect in HBCU now, and you probably have a couple of other guys like next year. Hopefully they stay there. But as far as the university is going to bring a lot of attention to HBCU football. Then on top of that, you got to think about the sponsors Byron going to have. Yeah. Then y'all also got to let's switch to basketball. The CIA is like the number one. They have the number one tournament. A lot of people don't know this. It's the number one tournament in basketball, college basketball. Period. It's bigger than the ACC. It's bigger than the Big East in the past. With Virginia Union and with Hampton used to be in the conference. Okay. Fayetteville State and all of them. So they had the game all the time in Richmond. They went from Charlotte to Baltimore. So that's going to be huge to cover too, because I'm sure you're going to cover that. But also, they may have games, and he might have different shows behind the scenes of classics. I'm sure you're going to be creative with that.
Right.
And then also, I remember they did this on Channel 11 years ago, but you never know. They might bring big Greek shows.
It can span out. So many,
and so it can really help just a lot of kids, period, as far as promoting HBCUs, because a lot of people, even they don't play in the band, they go to school because the band was good. Some of them go to school because the football team good. It's like you went to A&M, Tony. So I mean, you walked across campus. That was your franchise. That's the only time. I'm just saying. I know fans see that, and that's what people. You have that at black college campuses too. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so. That's gonna play a big role. I mean, Byron Allen just a bad boy, man.
I agree.
I'm like you said, I'm proud of him. Like you said, Tony, we may don't own a lot, but we are masterminded and creative people. Yeah. And people love our creative ideas and swag.
And I think he's the appropriate person, because I don't know the man, but I take him as he reads the fine print. Because at the end of the day, we're still talking about Fox News. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my head. Okay. Yeah, we're still talking about Fox News, but there we go. But I think he because now the question that's coming in my mind is, what took so long?
Diversity and inclusion. Right.
And now that it's here, that's what it is. I think Byron Allen is the right person to grab that and take it to where it needs to go.
But like what me and Tony talked about off the air before we got on the air, the man could have bought the Broncos. Yeah, the man had the money.
Right.
The man on the Weather Channel is huge. Him buying that Weather Channel. And like I say, it goes back to his roots. I think his mom was in behind the scene producer. His uncle owned skating rings, owned a lot of things in Detroit. And I mean, because when he was on Real People, he was young. He was still in college. I think he graduated from USC.
Young guy.
So he was in the mix. Was set up, and he learned a lot.
His environment set him up.
So and it's just that I don't know if the NFL team will ever want to own it, let a black person own it. But when I saw his name was up for it, I knew he had the money to get it, but Tony probably can tell you better than I can. That's a whole other story.
Might be the politics.
He part of that fraternity.
We talk about this all the time. We talk about the upper ring, and when we talk about the upper ring, what that means is you hear about NFL meetings, you hear about coaches meetings, rules change meetings, but then you hear about owners meetings.
Yes,
the owners meetings. That's the upper ring. That's where everything's decided.
Yeah.
In that upper ring, and I want you to think real hard. How many of us are in that upper ring?
Yeah.
Think real hard about it.
Yeah. And what kind of conversations go on?
Yes, absolutely. Another thing to think about on this, just a quick point, is that when you have a team that does well, a school that does well, say, for instance, Michigan won last year the national championship, their enrollment will increase exponentially because they won, they're popular. So with our HBCUs, with more exposure, more knowledge out there, obviously showing the upper level programs, when people see that, that's going to increase their enrollment. When enrollment increases, revenue increases.
That's a great point you made, because I'm in Atlanta at the national championship, HBCU national championship, and that was huge for the vice president. Took time out of her schedule to come see our alma mater play. So a lot of times when you big coming from those universities, big alums with a name that bring them back, that's great, because Robert Pack will come to a couple of FAMU games, and that helps. And people are like, oh, I want to do what he did. I want to go to school. So that helps, and it brings the crowd, and So that, you're right. It brings a lot. when you do big things, it makes the enrollment up. Even you talking about Coach Prime earlier, he made the enrollment up.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And awareness.
Yeah.
So, just real quick, Mitchell Fogel, he sent a shout out to you.
Oh, Mitch, hey, what's up? What's up, Mitch?
What's up, Mitch? Thank you for
I see you,
watching.
Mitch.
Yeah, you know, Mitch, yeah.
Oh, you know Mitch too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
you don't
right.
know
I don't know
Mitch.
you, but
A lot of
we
people know
fans
Mitch.
now.
Baylor basketball.
Yeah, that's
see?
Mr. New.
All right, so one day I get to meet him. All right. So now I want to focus on you, Mr. Tom.
All right.
All right. And we're not gonna have an interview, we're gonna have a conversation.
Absolutely.
All right. So I know you played football,
Mhm.
high school, college, professional, and you said you're in the medical field.
Yes.
So in college, did you major in medicine or anything medical, or how did that come about?
It's a twofold story. So
Okay.
let me back up a little bit. Growing up, I'm from Hiram Clark, but by way of Fifth Ward to Third Ward to Hiram Clark.
The roots.
So yeah, absolutely. Let's include all of that.
Yes.
But I am named after my great uncle, who was one of the first practicing African American physicians here in Houston, Dr. Anthony Wayne Beal. And his office was out on Lockwood. So many summers, I was in Fifth Ward on Lockwood. Now, was I doing what I was supposed to do all the time? Probably not.
We ain't talking about that right now, but you was there.
But no problem. But loved that, and I was exposed to medicine very early. So a lot of things, and we talked about this, but a lot of things I knew about healthcare, about medicine, about the body, well before perhaps anyone my age would have known that.
Yeah.
My mother was a teacher and a coach, so
She was the first black coach in Cy Fair, my understanding, right? Women's
historically,
yeah.
yeah, but there were several others with her.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was exposed to healthcare, Medicare, medicine, whatever, a long time ago. So a lot of it I knew was just second nature to me.
Okay.
By the time I reached college, I majored in construction science. I didn't major in anything medically involved, but playing football, I was always inquisitive as to why are we taking that medication? What does this medication do?
Mhm.
Why do we need to take it for a prolonged period of time? Just questioned a lot of things, which, I think we all should. So I was always inquisitive about it. So after leaving A&M and had my short stint at Green Bay, when I decided to go back to school, which was at the University of Houston, people don't know I'm a Cougar too, but finishing my degree from the University of Houston, I actually switched my major and finished in kinesiology. So with a heavy health focus, a lot of anatomy and physiology, that kind of thing. So that led to a long-term career, which I'm still in now in healthcare. So that's where my peak, interest came in medication.
Okay.
So I'm asking this. You were talking earlier, like you was aware you was ahead of the game when it comes to medicine, because I know a lot of these schools give these kids different things for different injuries and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the day, especially, it's really still going on, but it was really huge back in your day and our day, period, steroids and everything. You already knew, and I'm sure you was telling your team, man, hey, man, watch this. Hey, man, watch that. I tell the trainer, hey, man, I ain't taking that. I know what this dude, you ain't fooling me. You was kind of the guy all the players looked up to.
You know what? I had a lot of respect from a bunch of guys on that end, but I tell you what, there was a guy on our team, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there was a guy on our team. If you had an issue, if you didn't know what was going on, if whatever medical issue, we would all send people down to his room. And he's a little bit older than that, but we would send people down to his room, and he could listen to what was going on with you and ask you a couple of questions. And he said, oh, I know what's wrong with you. Hold on 1 second. Go to his medicine cabinet and say, you need to take 2 of these, and then go tell the trainer, what's happening, blah, blah, blah. So we had a quasi doctor on the team already.
Okay.
But I knew a lot about, the medications. So yeah, I could answer questions about it, but I wasn't the authority at that point in time. We had somebody else who was the authority. But the beauty of it is that we were not force fed anything that, we shouldn't be doing. College sports, you're always going to have people who do things outside the lines. We, just like anywhere else at that time, had folks who probably were doing things they didn't have any business doing.
Right.
But you live and you learn, and you can recognize things, without it even being said. So,
Right.
without incriminating
Mhm.
anybody or any institution or what have you. Yeah, once you're privy to it, once you're exposed to a lot of things, you can see things, and you can kind of shake your head and say, yeah, I know what's going on over there.
Right. Wow.
All right.
That's that's crazy.
So I kind of want to tie these two things in together about parenting and you have 3 sons
Yes.
that all have played or are playing
Yeah.
football, and I'm gonna smoothly tie that into the young man Terrence, because he has parents and he was an athlete, and you could talk a little bit more about that, but he went to different schools and was training and for football, and he was doing what he's supposed to do, and just a little bit he had got into a car accident or whatever, and this young man, whatever happened, he went to go render aid
Yes.
to other people. You know what I'm saying? So that says a lot about, where he come from and who he is as a person. And then that's when he ended up getting hit and stuff like that. So as a father, that also have sons that, doing what they're supposed to be doing and you know what I'm saying? Just their life ahead of them. I guess the first thing, like, what impact does that have? I mean, it does on any parent, you know what I'm saying? But when they're really focused, they're really,
Right.
Going for the gold or whatever is higher than that, the platinum. What kind of impact is that?
And I know your 3 boys was going for the same goal you was going through. They went through the same thing you're going through.
Yeah. It's painful, obviously. It depends on where your platform is too. One, obviously we put all types of work into our children, whether it's in sports, academics, music, anything, lawyers, doctors. To see it cut short, that impact on that family has to be absolutely devastating.
I agree.
Now, I'll go back, and when I say platform, if, obviously we won't go deeply into religion here, but if you are a believer, then you know that in God's words, his purpose may be different than our understanding. So that's what we have to rely on with that.
Yeah, I did say that today, that we just don't, we don't
Yeah,
know.
his
And he was a
purpose
light.
is, yeah.
That's a good thing that he was a light,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He touched
He lit
many
the room.
people. Absolutely.
Yes or no, sir, kid?
Yeah. Beautiful kid. So the impact, obviously down here on earth, where our understanding is a little bit limited.
Yeah.
The impact is immense. I'm telling y'all, and my wife is a witness. I was really, really messed up for about 2 or 3 days.
Shoot.
I really was. I sat at the end of the bed. I just couldn't understand.
Yeah. And you too, Pat.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
this was your
still going
what
through
I'm
it. Yeah, I'm
saying?
still going through it.
Yeah.
It's shocking, the way it is. And I know for parents, people don't understand, losing your kid is different from losing your mom or your dad. People don't understand that. Because I remember my grandmother lost my mom lost her oldest sister, her oldest child, and she was just saying that me losing my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, but losing that child, it's a big difference. And that's tough.
And that goes back to the mental health. Yes, his parents are definitely, his sister and stuff like that. But we're on the outside. So even though I didn't know the young man, it's affecting me, in a sense and stuff, because you all know him, and I'm seeing what type of, and I know his stepdad and stuff, you know what I'm saying, what that is. So it's just like, no matter how great or small, it can have an impact. And I guess I'm not a medical doctor, but I said, but if you need a minute to just chill out, it's okay.
Well, the thing is, when you know a person like me and you know each other close, one of your friends I might not know and they die, but I hear you talk about them and then you talk about them before, it'll feel like I know them, and you have your condolences and everything. But at the same time, it just, it's a lot of things they're gonna have to deal with just sitting down by themselves. Because a lot of times parents gonna need counseling, gonna need help, because people around here think they don't need it, think problems can't happen. Things can happen overnight. You can see something out in the street, it can mess you up.
Yeah. And there's no timetable on how long it's gonna take you to grieve. There's no timetable on, and it shouldn't be. Anybody tell you, okay, it's been long enough. You need to make sure they exit left.
Because you think about things when people think ahead in life, and a young man like this, I get to see Terrence, if you, God bless him, live another 50 years, I can see him having a beautiful family, beautiful kids like him with a beautiful smile, have grandkids, beautiful smile, and and as a parent, you miss out on graduations and grandkids and stuff, so it's a lot go to that.
I agree. Yeah. So, Tony, now talking about your sons, all three of you have three sons, and they all play football. Your oldest is a former NFL, right? He's transitioning to
coming into the real world.
Okay, coming into the real world. So we'll talk about that. And then your middle son, former Iowa State.
Yes.
Right? And then your youngest.
He's at Louisiana Tech now.
He's at Louisiana Tech now.
Yes.
And then your youngest graduated from Lamar High School.
He did.
And so now he's in, is fashion design?
He is.
Okay. So all of them played sports, but then they are doing other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you encourage your son? So, okay, yeah, do sports, do, like that and stuff, but also have other interests, because some parents, so focused, son or daughter, you're going to do this and there's nothing outside of that. And, I always have to think of life after sports.
Sure.
When the game ends, and of course we don't want anybody to be injured, but even your body may it said enough.
It happens all the time.
What is life after sports? What are you doing? So how did you encourage your sons to, okay, yeah, do this, but also, explore other entities?
Well, I think a lot of that is leading by example. My kids have only seen me play on film. Of course, back then, they weren't around. So my example to them is I've always been around. I've encouraged them in sports. I've coached all of them, coached their buddies and that kind of thing. But they also saw me every day get up and go to work. They used to go to work with me a lot of times. I'd take them to work with me. So they've seen daddy at work. They know that work is, real life. On the flip side of that, I've encouraged them all to, explore their interests, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's sports, whatever it may be. Because one thing I try to share with the kids, and I tell Pat this all the time, is that, that sports life is finite, very finite. You're going to probably be on the other side of sports longer than you will be in sports.
That's true.
That's just the odds.
That's real talk.
Right.
Just
everybody
odds.
Can take as long as LeBron, and everybody needs just not gonna make it.
I got a lot of dear friends who played the game. I've got two friends just off the top of my head that played 15 and 16 years. Aaron Glenn, Keenan McCardell. You don't get 15, 16 years in the league. That's
hard.
That's an anomaly.
That's hard.
Yeah.
It's an anomaly. And those guys did it with grace. They set great examples. But the reality of it is most people be lucky if they get 4 years.
Yeah. So
but the crazy thing is with AG and with Keenan McCardell, they played that long and they still walk around here healthy. Because other people I know played that long, they barely can walk.
Yeah.
And then both of those guys, you wouldn't think they played where their bodies are. And they both coach in the NFL now, so you got to be interacting when you coaching with those guys too.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a delicate balance, because like my oldest, played at LSU, left LSU, played in the NFL, 3.5 years. Bounced around a little bit after that, came home. Middle son started out at Glenn, so let's give Glenn credit.
Hey, Glenn, down the street.
Left Glenn a year after year, went to Iowa State, was there 2 years, and is now transferred to Louisiana Tech, getting ready to go into his junior year. So he's going to focus on probably media and broadcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's a communications major. So my third one, totally different story. Was at Elkins High School, transferred out, went to Lamar for his senior year. Did great all district, great
hell of a season.
Corner. Yeah. I mean, kid probably is more talented than his two older brothers, has no more interest in playing sports. He is all about his fashion and design business, and I tell you, he's doing great with it. Um, he's enrolled in ACC, and he's in their fashion and design.
I've been there too.
Yeah, fashion and design program, which is a highly ranked program. People don't know that, but it's a very highly ranked program. And he has an internet brand that is booming.
What is this internet brand, please?
It's Geek Boys Global, GEEKBOYZ Global. And he does a lot of his garments by hand. So my house looks like a warehouse.
I understand that.
But very, very successful. So he's doing his own thing. He's going down an entrepreneurship road.
And you know, I think while you're telling me this, in my mind, I'm still thinking life after sports, because it's still related, because he understands sports and the build and stuff. Who's to say he's not making soups? Who's to say he's not
absolutely.
making, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And those kind of things and stuff. You know, and then broadcasting, you know, your other son and stuff like that.
It's about communicating.
Sports.
It's about communicating with your kids, like Coach T, like Tony T do. Is that you got to have a plan.
Yeah,
you got to have a plan life after sports, because sports ain't promised. Because you could be in the league playing 8 years, still go now another 5 more years. You never know when it's going to end. Because Eddie George played 10 years. He didn't know what he wanted to do, and he went into that stage play and everything. So you got to have that plan, that plot. You know what I'm saying, and knowing, okay, when I get rid of this, I quit playing. What's the next plan? Like you said, Blake major in communication. Who knows? Blake might join us.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in the back of my head. But
he got a plan right now.
Right,
he could be working on his own show right now. He can do it in his room. Because this day and time, kids got so much better opportunities with the technology.
Sure.
Because communication, you know, guys like got my career started, my hero interviewed me when I was a player, and it got me my first opportunity. He interviewed you too, Tony, the Godfather, Ralph Cooper. It wasn't easy for those guys. You know, it wasn't that many broadcaster, journalism, you know what I'm saying? So nowadays with technology, you can discover your own channel and have a job come up. Like the old dude, he played football and he got created when YouTube first came out, and he did the Old Spice commercial. The black guy, you know, and he made it big right after that. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, you got to think about that, because like I said, I saw his son. Like you said, I know it looked like a warehouse around there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's clothing designing, because a lot of us having an opportunity in that.
Right. And that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about that, because with Bayou City Preps, with you know, with your students and stuff like that, encouraging them. And, you know, I hear you sometimes say, you know, they got a scholarship, a full ride, whatever. And you're always pressing them about, what are you doing? Major in something that you know that you can do and stuff like that. Because I think that, you know, let's talk about that.
And sometimes they want to major something that's hard. I always tell them, major something, you can come out in 4 years like sports management, and you can go back and get your undergrad degree, whatever, and move on with that. Then the key thing is, and Tony, you can relate to this, you have to know those, wherever you go to school, no matter if it's big and small, somebody big there. It's good to know them alumni, those alums. You know, because you network. I don't care if you go to leave, play 10 years, make a bunch, you never have more money than them. And if you want to do something, have a foundation or something, you're going to need them to collect those checks. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have that relationship. And the reality, a lot of people, wherever they go to school for, the reality, they're not doing that for a living. Some of them getting other things, like with some of the pharmaceutical stuff, it's like the connections you have, oil and gas. Some of them getting totally other fields. They make a whole lot of money too, just the networking. You know what I mean? So that's my thing, because that's my main thing I preach about, life after sports, because it's not promised, but a career in the education is. And like you say,
can never know enough.
Like the best thing he did, because I did the same thing with my dad. He taught school, had his own shop. I used to go to work with him, learning tools in the mechanic shop. You got to show your kids what goes on, because in society today, they want to spend all their time on the fields where they practice at.
You know what? I can relate to that, since you said that, because I remember I would go to my mom's job. She worked at Texaco every now and then. And so I learned how to operate in corporate America, you know. And one thing I said, I'll never work in oil and gas. Guess what one of my first jobs was?
Yeah.
And I did well because I already, even though I was a kid and I'm just stapling stuff and that's all she got me doing, I'm still hearing conversations and stuff. And that goes back to what you were saying, the environment. When you, even though you was doing whatever as a kid, you still picked up on medical terms and different things and stuff like that.
They got to see you got to go get it, because at the end of the day, you might not do what your parents do, but you got to have a career.
Yeah.
And being a businessman and see what's going on.
Right.
That's like Emmitt Smith. He told Jerry Jones, "Can I just sit in your office?" Because he wanted to learn.
Yeah.
As a businessman, he sat there and saw all the action going on, and you learn from that. I'm in. I'm still one of these different things coming in sports. So if I'm in Overstreet office, I'm at a sports marketing. I'm gonna come in and want to sit in there so I can think of my creative ideas.
Right. You never know how it can connect. Yes. And then again, I guess that can circle back around to mental health. Right, with anybody, whether you're playing sports or anything, but especially in that realm where your checks look like this, and now your checks are looking like what?
It is
and you have no idea, like you said, Eddie Georgia.
My oldest son is going through that right now.
And I have no idea what I want to do. I know that can put you into a depression, I don't know.
It does,
and your body.
It does, And I'm not trying to make making a woman to man thing, but women or the wives sometimes go crazy off there too, because can't say no name, but I had a partner of mine played professional basketball, NBA and overseas, and he had his wife on a budget. He said, "Look, them checks gone now, so I'm gonna have to make the budget, put you on a smaller budget."
Put you on a budget,
and she went crazy. I'm like, people like, you still got a budget though. You them checks, you ain't getting them checks no more.
Life changes, and that's one of the big things, man. The transition, and I mentioned that with my oldest son. He's gone from making a nice chunk on Tuesday to now figuring out what I want to do, and people not knowing you, saying, "Oh, okay, well, come set yourself up a time where we can interview, come talk, whatever." Because my oldest son he's not a loud, boisterous guy. He's unassuming. If you see him in the room, he ain't gonna say 2 words. So he's one of these guys that nobody assumes. He's actually slimmed down quite a bit now. Nobody assumes that he's an ex-football player. When people see that on your resume, it excites people. They love it. These big companies love athletes. They love people who military background because you are goal oriented, disciplined, that kind of thing. So when they see the resume, that excites them. But if you're sitting in the room sometimes and you don't know these guys, they treat you just like you're regular Joe.
Yeah.
And
right.
And it is hard coming out of being everybody wanting your autograph and this and that to sit over there. We're gonna
ready for the real world.
You're
a regular person.
It's tough.
And you say
he's done a year of orthopedic. He wasn't even a sales. He's like a junior rep, and all you do as a junior rep is make sure the equipment is in the surgeries. Now, of course, he learned how to do the surgeries. He's smart enough; he could probably do some of this stuff himself. But for an entire year, he did that, so he has that under his belt. But the thing is, you go in there, and those people treat you just like you're another circulator.
Yeah.
So
it's another new phase.
Yeah. No, it's not how you do that. Put that tray over there. Do this. Do that. And for someone who's transitioning, who may not be out of that egotistical, realm yet, it's hard.
Well, I'm gonna ask you a good question. So you think that's why Michael Jordan have a hard time running the team? When Charles Barkley called him out, Jordan don't know how to run the team. He probably can't take no correct criticism, and somebody tell him, because he used to being the GOAT. And
I would dare say that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know who. You guys think about it. Who would be able to give Michael Jordan advice that he would listen to? The only person I can think to is 2 people. One of them not here anymore.
Yes.
His mom and his dad.
His mom and his daddy.
Other than that, who's
Miss Jordan was smart too.
Yeah, he's a sharp guy, but
I'm talking about his mom.
Really listen to.
That's true. And he said his mom still mother him, no matter what. And I saw that movie Air. She did the deal with the Jordan deal.
Yeah.
And that was like unheard of.
Yeah.
And that was a guy. That's one of the best movies people don't know. But it's funny, the 30 for 30 call broke. The guy said that. He said, you got guys go broke right after they checks run out. They crying for the next season to come. Some of them don't have nothing. They have to go get them loans and stuff like Adrian Peterson.
Wow.
Now you got these NIL. Yeah, it's happening. Now these football players are seeing, you got people down in Kentucky, they making track team, football team, basketball, that, and they're making 35, some of them making between 30 and 40,000 a month and be broke. I am broke. So they don't know, ain't used to that. And you got to pay Uncle Sam. And so a lot of these guys do that. Like Adrian Peterson, he had that big party and shoot, flew a lot of his people in first class, hotel room. Like Shannon Sharp said on this show, remember Ocho, that's $1 million right there.
Yeah.
Hotels are high now.
Yeah, just to have a good time.
And in first class too, several people.
I can just imagine what kind of, land, property, and, things that, passive income kind of things you can do. Because once the party's over, it's over. Okay, we had
that's why it's
time,
good.
Now what?
But that's why it's good. You heard me say this before. That's why it's good to put money in real estate. You make money in your sleep. It's not like making money in your sleep.
You right about
but
that.
like Tony said, a good point. He said, how are you gonna relate? You used to be in the star, but now you got to go by rules. As kids, I know, can't say no, I don't want to say no names, but they had jobs. But some of these kids, at least I hate to say it, they don't know how to follow rules. I don't want to be told what to do. And some of them got some simple jobs. And you take a lot of these kids nowadays, even in high school, it's like some of them can't work at McDonald's because their attitudes.
Wow. And that's
it's
like
sad.
not being, if you can't follow rules, and you can't even, because we have our own rules. So if you can't follow rules, that means you don't know how to have discipline.
It comes from
within
home.
Within yourself.
It comes from home. His boys can work anywhere.
I agree with
They
that.
got
So
structure.
that's what I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So, given your experience in both sports and medicine, what advice do you have for parents whose children are heavily in sports? And as we talked about the transition, just all of that, what is your best advice that you can give parents?
One, for parents, I coached Little League for many, many years. And, if I ask 10 lay people who don't have kids, what do you think the biggest issues in Little League sports are? They will probably tell you, oh, maybe the kids don't pay attention or this or that. The biggest issue is parents.
I was about to say that the parents I have seen.
Parents.
Yeah.
Now we have tons of great parents. They
Yes.
get their kids to practice and, support their kids. But you're always gonna run across those parents that want to drive the whole thing, and they take the fun out of it. Kids aren't having fun anymore because even at that level, these parents are trying to make it a business. So my biggest thing is if you're going to have your kids in sports, in band, and whatever it is they do, support them, help them learn. It's going to be good days, it's going to be bad days. Some days they're going to catch the pass. Some days they're going to drop it.
Some days they don't want to do it no more.
Some days they don't even want to go.
And they burn them out.
But the biggest thing for a parent is to understand that you got to make sure that is part of what that kid wants to do. You're going to have kids. I had kids every year in Little League that didn't really want to be out there. And I will say this, I had a lot of kids who came from single parent homes, particularly with their mother. The mother wanted them out there to have them involved in something.
Yeah, keep them out of trouble.
Great intentions.
Right.
And some of those young men didn't want to be out there. Those are the ones that I would embrace.
Yes.
And, hey, I want you to do one thing on the field. I want you to learn how to do this real well. That's all I'm asking you to do on Saturday. Get those kids to the point where they understand they have a responsibility. It ain't about the game. It ain't about the sport. It ain't about that. They have a responsibility. Guess what? If you don't go to practice and all the rest of your teammates go to practice, when they see you at school, they're going to look at you and say, man, where were you? Come you ain't at practice because you don't come to practice. You can't play on Saturday. Where were you? They're going to remember you as that guy. My oldest son, the one who, went to the pinnacle. The one year he said, Daddy, I don't want to play no more. And this was Little League. I said, man, no problem. Daddy will never force you to play. I said, I'm going to still coach. I have a duty to go out here to the rest of these guys out here. So if you don't want to play, you don't have to play. That year, he rode to practice with me every day. Watched his teammates practice, came to every game, get in the car after the game, say, Daddy, you know what? On this play, if such and such would have done this, he probably would have made the play, but I know I would have made the play. So I looked at him and I said, how are you going to make the play and you're on the sideline?
Yep.
It's easy to talk. Yeah.
Never had that problem again.
That was a good lesson.
Yeah, that whole year. I encouraged him, hey, man, you figure this out, whatever. You don't want to play, but Daddy's going over here. But at the end of that year, he learned a lot. I will say this. Yeah. He did learn a lot. But when he went back, obviously he never stopped again. But, you have to make this to where it's not a job for them.
Mhm.
And as the years creep up and they get more interested, the numbers are going to decrease every year they get old. So from little league to junior high to high school to college, and obviously beyond that, the numbers decrease. So if they show interest in it throughout their high school years and they happen to be good at it, then obviously keep following that. The end goal with this thing is one, to love the sport, learning team values, that kind of stuff. All those things are good. The end goal, I used to tell my parents all the time, is we win championships where we are. That's great. The goal is, if you're going to do this every day and put this time in, let's turn this into a scholarship. Let's turn this into an educational opportunity. That's why we're out here.
Open doors for other doors for you.
Open doors. That's why we're out here. And I have had the benefit of being in a community and an organization that put out tons of athletes. Almost my whole team I can think of ended up with scholarships as we got older.
Amen.
I think about all of our parents. We had a circle of parents that was unreal.
Support.
Man, ran the concession stands,
Mhm,
nice
mhm.
uniforms,
That's like my mama used to.
traveled in caravans,
Yeah.
dressed to a T, behaved well at the games.
Mhm.
Now that's a different story.
But see,
these days.
but see, Tony, you gotta understand. I know you understand, but because you have to understand, this is a new era, and what he's saying, they acting like throwback. That's how it was with the Brentwood Dolphins. Like you play with the Dolphins, Coach Paul, Coach Lewis, Coach Boosie, Coach Malone. Those was real coaches and father figures. And we had parents, single parents, same way back then. You're gonna do something.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
and,
That was
and
my
they got
daddy.
them mentally right.
Yeah.
And guys was crying out to be out there, like you say, you get to school, but then they later on they really appreciate it. Guys learn how to play later on. Sometimes guys came out there good. We had guys couldn't play. They got better later on. But it's just life and keeping you going. Because nowadays there's so much going on in the Black community and a lot of these organizations and in the city organization. It's a mess. And it's like you say, you burn a kid out. You get out of it. Like you said, what y'all doing. And like you say, you go pro in other things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to point out when you were saying about the parents. I saw a video, and maybe some of you all saw the video. I might have sent it to you, I'm not sure. But it was two kids wrestling. Mm-hmm. And the referee had called something, and the parent got mad, the dad, and he went on there and pushed
that happened all the time
down and stuff. But this is the part about it. The parent didn't realize who he pushed. He was a lawyer.
Well, no.
And then the kid is now embarrassed because he has to go to school. And
man, no matter what that man was, you don't put your hands on nobody.
Your hands on anybody.
And you're not setting an example for your child. And that's why them kids come out acting.
And the referee is like the judge. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like he makes the call.
That's his fault. Yeah.
Man. And then the mama getting into it. I was like, oh my God, I know that little boy is just simply embarrassed.
And that's just like the little girl walked across stage and the daddy got on stage and pushed that because he didn't want to touch a black man. I mean, they're ignorant.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
So again, that's parents. I'm gonna just say, check yourself.
Yeah, parents are the ones who generally need a little more guidance.
Oh, it's the parents.
The kids. They'll do what you tell them to do because kids want to learn. They want to be taught.
Yeah.
And they want to know that you care about them. And that's what happens when you coach kids. They begin to learn, man, this guy, this gal, they care about me. So I don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
I ain't getting this at home. I'm getting it here. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Yeah, that's all they want. Because a lot of times they see what you're doing. Some of them end up doing that. It's like we was talking earlier about going to work with your parents.
Oh, right.
So
It all plays a role. Everything plays a role, from the music in the car to you listen to Sexy Red, or all of it plays a role, right?
It does.
So we are almost out of time, but I wanted to talk about two things.
Right.
I wanted to talk about Andre Johnson.
Oh man, salute
to the first Texan to make it to 100.
Man, I'm so proud of Dre. And it was funny. I like when he made his speech, Tony Nicole. I'm known as the quiet kid out of Carroll City. But people don't understand, Dre talks. If you got to know him, he's not gonna talk. But I'm proud of him. I salute him. First Texans, he deserved it. And that's one of the best receivers of all time, especially for a player that never played with a consistent quarterback. What he did, because he had no consistent quarterback.
Yeah, he did.
Again, we're so great. From the U, and it was good to see his teammate going with him from the U, Hester. And that first kickoff returner to make it. It's hard. That's hard to do, especially when they got the kickoff now. It's gonna be hard. That's probably be the first and last. I'm not saying it's gonna not be another, but it's gonna be a long time for one make.
The new rule is
I
looked at it the other day when when the Texans were playing in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
To me, it's different, but to me, I'm thinking that it's almost 100% to nothing, because the one guy who has the angle doesn't make the tackle, and you break that first wave, it's a wrap. Mm-hmm. So we probably, and I think they designed this to really actually have more kickoff returns for touchdowns, because again, a lot of these tackles are going to be made one-on-one, and if that guy misses that tackle, that hole is there. This guy's gone.
Well, what kills me is the kicker got to run off the field at a certain time, right?
Yeah.
And they could pull a muscle, anything. I mean, I know they stretch, but still.
But that's what I'm telling you. They're making this. The league is always lean towards offense and scoring and entertainment.
Yeah, they want to entertain.
Yeah. So that's all it is. That's where it's going.
Right. All right. So Truesdale, before we leave, we have something very special, and we call it the Truth Tunnel with Truesdale. Okay? Yeah. He tell it like it is.
Well, we're gonna tell
how we can be.
We're gonna talk about. We talked about the lady sitting at home.
Michaela.
Listen, Michaela, get a life, okay? I know back in the days, people before social media, people sit at home, Tony T with their control and be gossiping on the phone with their girlfriends, friends, all that people business and everything. But it's not, get a life. And at the end of the day, whether if it was the other way around, as the male gave the wife, I mean, this girl wore his jersey during the game.
Right. But the Michaela's the one that's saying that they were lazy.
Yeah.
It was another girl that was on social media.
Yeah, she talked about him wearing his gold medal.
No, not Michaela.
I mean, wearing her gold medal.
No, this was another girl. This was just like somebody on social media.
No,
Michaela, we know Michaela.
That they were.
I mean, I'm talking about.
You're talking about the other girl that need to get the life. The girl that was just like, why is her husband wearing
the gold medal? Basically, the girl's like, why is she wearing the gold? Why he's wearing her gold medal?
And you know what? They went on so bad on that girl that did that she ended up having to come back. And say, okay, so maybe it is me. Maybe
I mean, Michaela, I'm not saying wrong, but
how many real relationships have you been in, ma'am? If you've never been married or in some real deep relationships, you really just needed to.
It's just some hateful people out here. And my thing is, I didn't see her wear his jersey during the game.
Absolutely,
that's supporting each other. So what is wrong with that?
I don't know.
And that's her husband. Like you said, he took the time, and you never know what can happen. He may get. Well, I don't know. We don't know. But he has his life, and he's doing good. Been a good special team.
Yeah, he's not a bum.
No, he's not a bum. So I mean, it's support and love.
I agree.
Go get a man, woman. That's simple. Go get a man.
And I always have a saying: black love is paramount. That's just my.
But before we get off the air, I gotta say this.
Yes, sir.
Tony T, you were one of the biggest rivalries in college football. Dave Campbell, the UT and A&M game is back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the last one was November 24th, 2021.
2011.
I mean, 2011. Yeah. The 2011.
And last year they was in the Big 12. That game being back. Tell us about playing that game. What's the tradition of that game? What you feel about it being back, and especially the fire. What's the big bonfire? Yeah. What is it?
Well, let me start off by saying this. It's overdue. I mean, you got two of the biggest programs in the country, in the state of Texas, who were rivals, and you lost that rivalry. Some of these strategic alliances that have happened lately, obviously with A&M defecting, going to the SEC, Texas State in the Big 12, you've lost some other rivalries around the country as well. It's almost paramount to college football to bring these old rivalries back.
Right.
I was privileged enough to play on one of the teams, in this rivalry. And, we were fortunate enough to have a lot of good seasons. But one thing about those two schools, if they both were terrible, it was only one game that they were worried about.
Right.
Wow.
It's like Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah. So the A&M Texas game was always the big thing. Always a big thing back then.
So what I'm saying is I'm surprised they didn't make this game a traditional game after they left and went to the SEC still.
Well, I think here was what the thinking was. obviously A&M defected, went to the SEC. SEC is best football in the country.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what that was all about was going to that league, defecting from under Big Brother, because Texas was always considered pretty much top dog. Although, we had
Of course, y'all
quite a
broke
bit
that.
of success
Yeah.
against them. But
Right.
that was removing themselves under the shadow of Texas. So, boom, we go to SEC. We got our own identity over here. And, they came in with a splash, with
The Heisman
Johnny
Trophy winner.
Manziel. I mean, they've done some good things. But here lately, obviously with the, just the dissolving of the Pac-12 and everything else, all the traditional schools, traditional powers are in different places now, just about. So with Texas and OU coming over to the SEC, one, that's going to elevate the SEC. That's two, major programs
And
with
two major
national
rivalries, too.
championships, major rivalries. So again, what is all of that going to do in the end? The money's just going to pile
Because
up
I know them
higher
tickets
and higher
ain't
and
no.
higher.
I know them tickets ain't no joke.
Yeah.
So that's the SEC football with these folks in here now, man.
It's gonna be crazy.
You got some of the most premier programs in one conference.
And college football already to me better than NFL, boy. But at the same time, though, it's like the G League with the NIL and it's gonna be crazy. And the TV contracts they get, that's why they drop TNT. Basketball it's gonna be stupid money.
It's about the money, man. So
Yeah.
it's marketability. So obviously, if I want you to spend your money, I'm gonna give you a product that's gonna make you come give me your money, and that's what they did.
Right.
So who's gonna win?
Don't ask me that.
He's biased. Okay, so we are now at the end zone. Okay. But before, I have to do this. I have to. Who is that?
Oh my God.
I had to.
Guy with the flat top.
Early,
Oh
but
my
I had
God.
to do it. So, in the Tunnel Sports fans, I would like to thank you for joining us for another fantabulous episode of In the Tunnel Sports podcast. And Mr. Tony, can I call you Tony T now?
Yeah,
Y'all
and
be
take the
friends?
mist off.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Tony T, thank you very much. I really love your insight and just your energy and just everything.
Well, thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you
You
for
got to
having
come
me.
back. 'Cause we got to
Yeah.
talk about them two Cotton Bowls you played against. I know you're gonna tell your grandkids you played against Bo Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely.
And played against Notre Dame. Tim Brown, you scored that touchdown now.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely.
got to talk about that. Them big classes. I actually watched your game on YouTube the other night too. They played Auburn.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah.
All right, thank you
appreciate it.
guys, and I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. And remember, stay hydrated.
It's a great to be in a Hard Clark show today.
Hey.